Coming back to the IoT Edge project folder, we will visit the transporter module main Python file again. And here in the main method, as mentioned before, the message handler will be the one that triggers the start of the entire flow. So once the message has been received from the incoming part, the data will be sent for processing. So let's go into the send data for processing method, whereby the load predictor endpoint will be used, and it has already been defined in the deployment template. Under modules, and we go into the transporter module, you should see based on the create options of the Docker image, it will have already been defined that variable that will be utilized pointing to the predictor module. Next up, let's go into the send data processing. You can see a request of a post method is being used. Post a request to the predictor module. So let's go into the predictor app Python file. You can see here in the predict handler method, this is the part where the local inference will be made against the ML model and the output will be provided. Let's go into the Azure portal and we will see the predictor logs of the output as shown in the code itself. So now let's head back to the transporter module. And you can see subsequently we also print out, and that ends the second part of the transporter logs to indicate the response from the predictor module. With that, we will pass this data back to the hub for further processing. We'll be utilizing the send to hub method as indicated here. So in this method, you can see that some of the properties can be defined for your own requirements. For our case, to export this data back to the cloud, we have used the message routing with a custom property of level equals to storage query. So in the custom endpoint, you can see some other variables or properties can be defined as well, such as the storage account, the batch frequency, and the file name format as well. So let's see how this message routing has been set up in the blob storage that we utilize the Azure blob storage. So let's go into the container. And you can see in the container itself, we also store both the model and as well as the logs of the output. So let's visit the latest JSON file output. And you can see we have downloaded the JSON file output. And now let's open it up with Visual Studio Code. I can see the different various properties that has already been defined earlier on in our code base, and as well as the message body of the forecast that has been defined in here as well. So coming back to the main Python file, in the logs, we'll print out the message that sums up the third part of the logs of the transporter module.